Hi everyone, this is Amy Schrank with Terra Tribe Essential Solutions. Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk to you a little bit about balanced diets and what that can look like. It can be very confusing in today's day and age to try to figure out what works for your body, what you should and shouldn't eat. It seems like there's 900 different theories out there, and then every day there's new research saying we can't eat this because it's linked to cancer. So trying to navigate through all of this can be very confusing, and I see more and more people kind of throwing their hands up in the air and just kind of sticking with the standard American diet because they're confused and they really don't know where else to go. So I'm here to tell you and try to help you through some of this, but the most important thing I think that you need to come to understand is that there is not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to a balanced diet. So what is balanced for my body might be very, very different than what is balanced for your body. And so the only way to navigate through that and to figure out what works for you is to slow down and be a little bit more conscious about what you're eating. And it doesn't have to be super tedious, but one of the things that we really encourage clients to do is to start a food journal at the very, very beginning. And let's just look at what foods you are eating and then how it's leaving you feeling when you're done. That's a really, really important step. So for example, you might eat breakfast and write that down and then check in with yourself about how you're feeling afterwards. Some of the things that you might want to take note of are, do you have more energy or do you have less energy? Are you feeling bloated or gassy or uncomfortable? Is there any kind of pain or tension with that? Maybe you're not clear-headed. Maybe you have foggy brain. Food can affect us in all different kinds of crazy ways, things that we wouldn't know. Maybe we're experiencing a little bit of anxiety. That can also be another thing that's triggered by food. So these are the things that we want to look for after we've been eating our foods. And then one of the things that's important to note too about this is you want to make sure that you're looking at how you feel about 2 hours after you eat. So, and the reason for that is while digestion starts when we chew our food, we really want to give it time to kind of work its way through our system and see how it's affecting the gut on a deeper level. So that is a super important piece of that. Some of the things that we like to work with clients are if you feel like you might have some food sensitivities or food allergies, and sometimes when we're doing this first step, just the food journaling, we will start thinking, I wonder if I have a food sensitivity to gluten, or I wonder if I have a food sensitivity to bananas. There can be all different kinds of things that might come up for us. And so if that is the case, you can actually go through a really thorough process. It's called the Elimination Diet. And there's lots of information on the web about it. It's great to work with a practitioner if you can. For that support, because it can be a pretty tricky thing. But basically you take about 3 weeks and you eliminate, there's a laundry list of foods that you need to kind of steer clear of for about 3 weeks. You're basically pressing the set button on your digestive system, and you're eating some really, really safe, neutral foods to bring your gut into, a normal state. And then what you're going to do is after those 3 weeks and you've kind of been eating these bland foods and you're not eating these foods that you're supposed to stay away from for various reasons, you're going to start introducing those one by one. And when you start introducing those one by one, you're going to, again, go back to the whole idea of the food journal, and you're going to look at those foods and how they make you feel. So that will be really pinpoint the trouble causing foods. So that is really important step to take when it comes to figuring out what works for you and for your diet and for what would be balanced for your body. So while I don't want to say that one size fits all, as I've said, there are some general rules of thumb that I think everybody can benefit from in this process. And as far as learning what balanced is just the more that you can eat whole foods. Processed foods do not serve us. These manufactured foods from large food companies that aren't coming where the food's not coming out of the ground, or it's not coming from a farm-raised animal. These are not really foods that serve our bodies and feed our bodies the nutrients, the micronutrients that we need to thrive and succeed. So steering as much as you can away from those processed foods and filling your body with good, wholesome, whole foods is really, really important. You also want to make sure that you're looking and incorporating some really good, healthy fats into your diet. Some healthy fats include coconut oil and coconut, avocado, nuts, seeds, butter from cows that are grass-fed, animal fats. All of these things those are kind of true to your source. They're natural fats. Those are good for our bodies. Trans fats and these manufactured fat substitutes they can really wreak havoc on our immune system and our bodies. So try to steer clear of those good for you fats. One of the other things that's really important about incorporating fats into your diet is that fats actually fill us up and they leave us with more of a satiated feeling. And we're less likely to crave carbs and those kind of refined sugars and sugary sweet treats when we are giving ourselves these good for you fats. So I know many of us grew up in a generation where we were told that fat was bad and that we wanted to eat low fat. And in fact, research across the board is showing us that this is not the case, that it is imperative that we have these good for you fats. It feeds our cells and it feeds our brain. They're so important. So let's get those good fats in our diets. Making sure that our diets are comprised of lots and lots of fruits and veggies. In fact, this should be the bulk of people's diets is the most of what you eat in a day should actually be fruits and veggies. And I think for convenience sake, we've really come far from that. So we tend to eat snacks that we grab here and there and grains and pastas and things like that because it's convenient. And so fruits and veggies have taken a back seat. So it's really important to bring those to the forefront of your diet. While grains are really, really good for you, and certain people and certain bodies absolutely need them. Some people might need to eat less of them. They are important to have around for some balance. And we want to make sure if we are eating grains that we're eating whole grains. So no grains that are made, like even our pastas, if we're eating pasta that's made from enriched flours, that's not serving our body like a good wholesome whole grain, or a brown rice would, or maybe some quinoa or amaranth or buckwheat or barley. Those are some grains that would better serve us. So just for an example, for me, I definitely know that grains are something that contribute to weight gain for me quite a bit. But at the same time, I also know that I need a little bit of grains in my diet because I suffer from really low energy without them. They really help stimulate my energy. So finding that balance, that's unique to me. It might not work for you. You might have a different plan, but it really came from stopping and listening to my body and understanding this. So one other thing I want to touch on is when you are eating your fruits and veggies, as often as you can to eat organic and staying away from the genetically modified foods, so that we can keep our toxic load down. Foods that are non-organic have been sprayed, and there are lots of chemicals that go into those. And while we wash off a lot of that, some of it gets built up and can be inside there, and it can actually have an added effect to our and tax our immune system. So organic is most beneficial for supporting our immune systems. Again, steering clear of the genetically modified foods is important. My understanding with these foods is they have different chemical structure that's foreign to our bodies, and our bodies aren't quite sure how to break them down and how to deal with them. And so this can actually, again, compromise our immune system. So steering clear of those as best you can is great. Obviously, everything in moderation, making sure that you treat yourself when you want to be treated, I think is really an important thing. We tend to approach these sorts of things with such a stance of deprivation, and that doesn't ultimately lead to our success. So finding that balanced place within there, and everybody is different as to how that works for them, but that will hopefully really help you. So I hope that makes sense to you today. I hope you learned a little bit about how to find the best balanced diet for yourself. The other thing I just want to touch on right before I sign off here is when we start with something as simple as a balanced diet, frequently this has a effect on the rest of our lives. It's so interesting how something as simple as honing in on your nutrition and what you're feeding your body can affect how you spend your time and how balanced you feel in other areas of your life. So in my mind, just even starting with balanced diets can actually segue into just an overall more peaceful feeling and a more feeling of contentedness with yourself and with your pace in life, and leave you to feeling like you're living a more balanced life. So I hope that inspires you. I hope this has been helpful. If you like what you see, please Find us on Facebook. Again, Terra Tribe Essential Solutions. You'll also find us on Instagram, Google Plus, and Twitter. And then we have a blog, terratribeessentialsolutions.wordpress.com. And you can find Amy Schrank, Amy Schrank, AIMEESCHRANK, over on LinkedIn. Thanks for your support. If you have any further questions or you're looking for, you'd like to try a discovery session with me, just reach out. I'd love to serve you in that way and help you get started on becoming a better you. Take care.